Yo, yo, what's going on, folks? How y'all doing? Kanal here, Bulls on Wall Street. All right. Market. We've had a nice rest in the last week, right? So far, it's looking like we've got a healthy consolidation here to really work off an extension and overbought condition. One of the things that happens when you get this extended and you break out to new highs is the chance of failure of the breakout is much higher. But if you give a market or even a stock a chance to just rest or go sideways for a small period of time, that will allow it to build up the energy it needs and correct itself via time so that it can make a stronger move that will actually stick. And so we're starting to see that, right? We're basing out here and trying to pop over. And so this looks like a pretty good solid formation that we are seeing. So in absence of news, if we're just going on straight technicals, that it looks like an imminent breakout is coming on the S&P. Let's take a look at some stocks. So I got this PULS on watch here. I don't think it's gotten parabolic enough yet. Nice 2 up days here. We probably need a third. We're actually entering kind of a key level here. And so, ideally I'll be looking, up here for potential short in this bad boy. So we still got a little bit of ways away. Look for a mark closer to 7, but if we get a gap up around 7 or a strong move at the open, I'll start watching for a crack. Ideally, one of the mistakes that I often do is, I don't wait enough days. It's like stocks up a day and all of a sudden you want to short it, but you got to let this thing kind of play out a little bit. You don't want to get in front of it too early, but I do think one more day and we can start kind of looking at it the other way. Same thing with INO. All day today I was kind of like, this stock's always been a turd, but it's just too early, right? Go from $3 to 370. It's not a huge parabolic percentage move. We need to see a stronger push, maybe towards the 4 area, before we start looking at it the other way. Now, we played this in the chat room today with a call from Z-Man, who entered this thing in the morning and still his last bid around 77. The formation is still pretty powerful. This whole sector is on fire. I'd keep this one on watch. It looks like we got an imminent breakout in this. Galt, really just been chilling after a strong push. I anticipate a breakout really in the next couple days here. We're almost there. Might need to back and fill for another day. That'll kind of let things coil up a little bit, but another day or two max, and this thing should go. SGY, this is a real simple flat top breakout. A block. So blocks after a big tank is basically just kind of like a dead cat bounce all the way back up. Watch for another day or two of upside in this thing, and if you need a short, this one should kind of pull back here. So far, it just looks like some short covering or a dead cat bounce. I anticipate this thing to go back south pretty soon. Yelp, just flagging here, right after initial earnings push. We've spent about a couple weeks consolidating. This thing should make a $100 roll relatively soon. We're getting closer to that $100 area that should kind of suck everything in. HPJ, so this is a Chinese stock, as almost all Chinese stocks. You won't see the patterns that tight as they tend to fly and loose, but we're starting to see the volume kind of pick up on this. And, it's coming to a key level here, and you're starting to see this whole sector really pick up, and you're starting to see these stocks like CCIH and stuff like that really run for days on days. If this thing can break out, it's at levels that hasn't been at in years. And so if it can kind of squeeze over this way, you could see a quick run to 4 or 5 relatively quickly. The float on this thing is pretty tiny. Tango. I'm watching this one to see if it gets over this 20 area. It looks like that's been the lid on this thing. It looks pretty good. Not too many stocks that have just been sitting around consolidating for a while. C-Trip. This one, after the earnings move, been in a consolidation for the last few days. This one might need a little bit more time, but I do anticipate the way it's been holding up that it's going to go again. A lot of the solars are flagging for another run here, so you keep a handful of them on watch. One of the things with these things is you don't want to chase them at the open. If you start to see all these suckers gap up, probably just leave it alone. But it looks like, right, imminent breakouts are coming on this, especially after really a 1.5 month consolidation. SPWR, right, same type of thing. We've got a triple test, quadruple test, flat top breakout that goes from October. CMO, still watching this one. As long as it holds above 16, I think we're good to go on this. All I've been doing is really just, I've been watching the 30-minute chart and the 5-minute chart and looking for some type of sign or pattern before it shows up on the daily that gives me a sign that this thing is going to go. Essentially, that's how you want to play it. Oftentimes, stocks on their daily chart, they can be stuck in a pattern for quite some time, but you need to start looking for clues beforehand that will tell you when it's ready to roll. Otherwise, you will catch it too late. By the time it breaks on the daily chart, you'll be in way late, and everybody else will already be starting to peel off their shares. And then I got this UNXL and Watt. So, after it came to the 50-day moving average, we've just been consolidating here. We're in a really nice area, nice location here where we can manage our risk and play a potential squeeze. There's very few stocks left, near their dead bottoms here. And I anticipate after really such a thrubbing here that this stock's kind of entered its accumulation phase, and there's only so much lower it can go, right? It seems like there's nobody left to sell. The volume is dried up, in a way that it's just done, and so we could see a nice squeeze, maybe $13, $14 on this thing. It's going to get picked up at some point. So, look for volume and look for a nice tight pattern to play on this one. So that's it for now, guys. I will see everybody tomorrow in the chat room. Take care.